So once again, welcome to Sunday morning yoga. As I was saying, in addition to the usual stuff, a nice clear area on the floor, a couple of yoga blocks, a pillow of some sort, we will be using a belt today. If you have a nice long yoga belt, wonderful. If you don't have a nice long yoga belt, or if you want something a little bit more intense, a Pilates band will do, one of these stretchy things. We are going to start standing up. And I'm going to turn my back to you, and we'll get right into some neck and shoulder stuff. So let's begin with a great big inhale. Take your arms up and overhead. And exhale. Really, let's do that again. Great big inhale all the way up. And exhale down. Let your feet be a comfortable distance apart, your toes spread. Inhale up. Palms shine forward. As you exhale, bend your elbows, pull your shoulder blades down and together onto your back. You look like goalposts. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, pull those shoulder blades down and together. Palms are shining forward. Once again, reach for the sky. And as you exhale, pull down. And then look down into your right armpit, and you can drop that right hand. As you look down into that right armpit, chin is tucked in towards that right shoulder. You're going to pull your left shoulder blade down your back as hard as you can. Knees are unlocked, toes are spread. And breathe. If this isn't enough for you, you can take that right hand up and over to the back of your head, base of your skull, and tuck that chin deeper into your armpit. But the intensity of the stretch should really come from this left shoulder blade pulling down your back. And release. Reset. Great big inhale, arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, pull your shoulder blades down. Knees unlocked, toes are spread. Now look into your left armpit and drop that left arm. Again, right palm is shining forward, right shoulder blade pulling down your back, chin tucking down into that left armpit. Knees unlocked, toes are spread. Again, just like on that first side, you have the option of bringing that left hand up and over to the base of your head, back of your skull. Tuck your chin deeper into that armpit. But let the intensity come from you pulling that right shoulder blade down. And release. Big inhale, arms up and overhead. As you exhale, pull your shoulder blades down, heads on straight. Now chin tucks into your chest. So chin tucked into your chest, you're pulling those shoulder blades down. Pull your thumbs backward like you're hitchhiking and let your elbows tip forward. So chin tucked deep into your chest, elbows forward, thumbs back. Knees unlocked, toes relaxed. And then keep those shoulder blades down and together as you release your hands, clasp your hands together behind your back, interlacing your fingers, skid your thumbs down your tailbone, squeeze those shoulder blades together, chin is still tucked into your chest. If all of that's good, you're welcome to stay upright here. Otherwise, if you want a little bit more intensity, you separate your feet, put a bend in your knees, and hinge over. Gravity will help pull those elbows further away from your back. Head is still hanging. Shoulders are still pulling away from your ears, so the sides and the back of your neck stay long. If you are bent over, your knuckles are pressing up towards the ceiling. And you breathe. Belly is resting on, or better yet, between your thighs. Your knees are bent. Toes are relaxed. And then hands come to your hips. Bend your knees, hands slide over onto your lap, and you round your back, rolling all the way up to standing. Now do check that distance between your feet. You want it as wide apart as your mat. Knees are going to stay bent. You're going to bow forward again. And then with an inhale, lift your head and tail up. So you're coming into a sway back cow. We're doing standing cat and cow. And then as you exhale, arch your back, tuck your tail, tuck your chin. Inhale, head up, tail up. And exhale, pull your tummy and tuck your tail. So it's that standing cat and cow, arching your back one way and then the other. Hands on your lap. So keep your knees bent. Keep a lap. The next time you exhale and come into that arched back, that cat-like pose, hands on your lap, knees are bent. So you're going to keep your knees bent. Locate your right hand, and with an inhale, sweep that right arm up and open. Now follow it with your gaze. Look up at that right hand. And exhale. Really switch sides. Inhale, sweep that left arm up and open. And exhale. Let's continue. Inhale, up, up, and away. And exhale. Inhale, open, open, open. And exhale. Once more on each side. Big inhale, open, open, open. Exhale. And again, inhale, open, open, open. Exhale. Come to center. Hands on your lap, round your back. Come all the way up to standing. Palms are forward for a great big shoulder shrug. And exhale back and down. Feet are a comfortable distance apart. I'm going to turn my back to you so we're all going the same way. You're going to take that right hand, pull it around your back. Palm is facing outward. Use your left hand to pull that right hand around your back and then hold it in place, palm to palm. One hand on top of the other. And then look down towards your hands, chin tucked into your chest. From the front, it looks like this. Looking down into that left armpit. Knees are bent, belly is pulled in. And you breathe. Chin rolls to the center of your chest. You clasp, interlace your fingers together, and again, squeeze your shoulder blades and lift your head on straight. And let's do the other side. Release. So taking that left hand behind your back, pulling it across, holding it in place, palm to palm, and then look down into that right armpit. Knees unlocked, toes are spread. Breathing. And again, clasping your hands together, chin rolls to the center of your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together. And once again, feel that chest expanding. And release. So as some of you know, I've got a bit of an acupuncture background. Now, this is something that we learned. There are acupressure points in the webbing of your fingers. So if you've got fingernails, what you're going to do is jam your fingernails into the webbing between your fingers. Hard. If you were to go to your acupuncturist and you had acute, that means recent onset, you woke up with a stiff neck and you were to complain to your acupuncturist about a stiff neck, they might put needles here in between your fingers into the webbing. So jam your fingernails in because you want to get some good stimulation there. Nice and hard. Shoulders shrug up, back, and down. And you're just going to turn your head side to side. And jam those fingernails in. Nice and hard. Now, as you do that, relax your fingers, relax your toes. Keep working those fingers. Turn your head all the way one way. And then all the way. Shoulders are down. And then come to center. You're going to nod your head yes, if all of that made sense so far. Nodding yes. And you really want to be giving yourself little, almost like bruises. Really jam those fingernails in hard. And then come to center. And then you're going to tick-tock your head side to side. All the while you're doing this, your jaw is relaxed. We're going to continue stretching out some of these lines, neck, the shoulders, keep your jaw relaxed. and come to center, and then shake that out. All right, so you got some blood flow into those fingers, a little blood flow into your neck perhaps. We're going to start putting it together, get some blood flow into the rest of your body, and this is where you're going to need your belt. So if you have a nice long yoga belt, bonus. If you want to, and you have available that Pilates band, it makes it a little bit more intense because it resists you. So choose your own adventure here. I'm going to take hold of that belt or band, a nice wide width. I'm going to take it up and over behind your back. Behind your back. Shoulders are down, and you're going to press out hard. So have some tension on that belt. Have some tension on the band. If you've got the band, you might start to feel this in the wrists. You want your fingers to point back behind you. You want to feel that wrist stretch happen. If you're one of those people that hyperextends their elbows, be cautious with the band. You don't want to. Elbows are supposed to bend one way. They're not supposed to hyperextend and bend backwards. If you have hyperextending elbows, I do recommend ditching the band. I don't want you to overextend those hyperextending elbows. So you might be better off with just the belt. So anyway, some nice width, pushing through the belt, pushing through the band, and let your fingers point back behind you. Feet are comfortable hip width apart. You're going to let your hips come forward, turn to look back over your right shoulder. And twist your upper body as far around as it will go to look back over that right shoulder. And come forward. And hips are forward, and you twist to look over your left shoulder, looking back at that left hand. And breathe. And reset. We're going to repeat. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see that I'm thrusting my hips forward. Turn and look back. And reset. Hips are thrusting forward as you turn to look back over that left shoulder. And breathe. And release. Take a moment, drop the belt. Couple shoulder shrugs. Oh, palms are shining forward. Good round shoulder shrugs. Big ones, big yawns. Oh, shrug those shoulders up, back, and down. Keep those shoulders down as you take your hands out in front. Interlace your fingers and press your knuckles forward. So you're going to pull your heart, pull your belly back as you press your knuckles forward. Try to keep those shoulders from hunching up. Keep those shoulders down as you press your knuckles forward. Pull your front ribs and belly back. I've got my hips still thrusting forward, tail tucked under. You can put a little twist in it. Turn one way, then the other. And turn one way, and then the other. Your feet are apart. Your toes are spread. Knees are unlocked. Couple more here. And come to center. Take a moment to notice the weave of your fingers, the interlace of your fingers. Reweave your fingers, interlace your fingers so that the other index finger's on top and it feels funky. Same thing, you're going to press those knuckles forward, pull your waistline and belly back, but let your hips thrust forward, knees unlocked, twisting one way. I'm actually kind of pulling with one hand to help twist a little further. So if you're twisting to the right, I'm pulling or pushing out with the back of the right hand. And then twist the other way. And I'm kind of pushing out, pulling with that left hand, giving a stretch on the back of that left wrist. And twist and stretch. And twist and stretch. And come to center. All right, kick your right foot out. Bend both knees. Your left knee's to be a lot bent. Right knee's going to be a little bent. You're going to hinge over at the hips and stick your booty out. Bottoms up. On the side, looks like this. Perky butt. Hips back. Bowing forward. Feeling a bit of a hamstring stretch. Can you relax all 10 toes? And come on up And let's kick the other heel out. Sit back, bottoms up, hamstring stretch. Hands on your lap, pushing your lap backwards. And come on up, let's repeat. Hips back, hinge forward. Now, if that's your right foot, take your opposite diagonal arm, diagonal across. Slide it down the outside of the leg, maybe holding on to the pinky toe side of the foot. Hips are back, belly pulled in. You want to feel that stretch across your lower back and the back of your leg. And come on up. And let's do the other side. Kick out, sit back, hinge forward. Level one, you're just bowing forward, feeling that lovely hamstring stretch. But if you want to add more intensity, you take the opposite diagonal arm across, sliding down the outside of the leg, eventually maybe holding on to the pinky toe side of the foot. Perky booty. And come on up. Palms forward, great big shoulder shrug. Oh, a great big yawn. Find your collarbones. I am not a good model. I don't have bones. Collarbones. Good thing Princess Diana, she had excellent collarbones. So find that collarbone and then find your nipple just for fun. And if you draw a line straight up from the nipple, just below the collarbone, you're going to push in hard. So find that spot and push into it hard. Now, if this happens to be your right side, you're pushing in underneath the right collarbone, directly above that right nipple, and you're going to tip your head back and to the left. The head tips back to the left. If that's good, chin up, bottom lip out, pout. Knees unlocked, toes are spread. And reset. Let's do the other side. Find the collarbone on the other side. Find the nipple on the other side. Go straight up from the nipple, directly below that collarbone. Push in into that muscle, into that space between the ribs. And then you tip your head back and away. Jut your chin out, bottom lip over the top lip, pout. Knees unlocked, toes are spread. And reset. Once again, pick up your band or your belt. And we're going to put it together. Shoulders up, back, and down. Belt behind you. Push out on it. Get some tension. If your elbows hyperextend, try to keep them from overbending. Pressing out through the heels of your hands, maybe getting a little bit of a wrist stretch if you're using that band. Shoulders back and down. You're going to turn and look over your right shoulder, and as you do so, throw that left hip forward. Looking back over your right shoulder, twist, 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 twist. And reset. Hips thrust forward. Thrust that right hip forward extra as you look back over that left shoulder. Toes are relaxed, knees unlocked. And reset. Now, if it makes sense for you to let your head fall back, chin up, throat open, you can add that in, as long as you don't fall over, because it does turn into a balance thing as soon as you start looking back behind you and tipping your head backwards. So chin up, head back is completely optional. Knees unlocked, hips thrust forward. Throw that left hip forward a little extra as you look back over the right shoulder. And then if it works for you to tip your chin up, open your throat, maybe even yawn. And roll to center. It's a big one. It's intense. Other side. Sit back. And again, if it helps to open your throat, open your mouth, tip your head back, go over there. reset. All right, you get to drop the belt, knees unlocked, slowly bow forward. Come into that forward fold. Let your hands slide down your legs. If you do have blocks available, you can put your hands on blocks. Come into a supported forward fold. So either hands on blocks or hands on shins. You just did a big back bend. Now we're counteracting it with a forward fold. And you want to support the forward fold. Let your feet go as wide apart as the mat. And then shift and sway those hips side to side. Yes, shift and sway. Let your pelvis roll across the top of your thigh bones. So if you're doing this at home, you might put your hands on blocks or maybe hands on a coffee table, hands on the seat of a chair. If you're doing this out in the wild and you've got nothing, you can have your hands on your lap. You do want to support that back. So really letting those hips shift and sway. Come to neutral. Bend your knees, hands on your lap, round all the way on up to standing. I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to turn my back to you. So you're going to take that right hand to your right hip. Shrug your shoulders onto your back, right hand on the right hip. You're going to let your hips thrust forward. You're going to take this left hand, sweep it back behind you to see what's happening. Now you're looking down, and you're breathing. Chin is tucked a little bit. And a reset. Left hand on your left hip. Let that left hip thrust forward. Sweep that right hand back behind you. Look down at it. And reset. Once more on each side. Right hip forward, looking back over that left shoulder. And there's a bit of a twist in the torso. And reset. And once again, hips thrust forward, looking back. See what's happening. And reset. Big inhale all the way up. And down. Feet are comfortable, hip width apart, maybe even wider. Arms come up and overhead. And release that right hand to your hip. Stretch that left arm up and come over into a side stretch. And up and release. Other side. Inhale, arms up. Left hand on your hip. Side stretch. I'm letting my hips shift. Big side stretch. And come on up. Once more on each side. Inhale up. Right hand on your hip. Let your hips shift. Big side stretch. Come on up. And again, other side. Up and over. Left hand on your hip. Side stretch, letting those hips shift. Even kind of lifting weight out of one of these feet. And come on up. All right. Have your toys nearby, ready to go. All of that was kind of prep work. From the front edge of your mat, take a great big inhale all the way up. Bend your knees as you swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And release. Giant step back with your right foot. So go long, take up space. Big step back with that right foot. Got a pillow, you can tuck that pillow underneath your right knee. And as you set the right knee down, pivot on the ball of the back foot so that as you set the right knee down, you feel the outer right kneecap touch down. You're inward spiraling the leg, turning in. If you have your back toes curled under, your back heel goes wide. Back heel turns out. So it's just a basic lunge at this point. Front foot inches forward so the toe sticks out past your knee. Hands on blocks, driving your hips forward. Breathe. You're going to rock back on the front heel. kickstand, bowing forward. I'm turning my blocks down. Some of you might have long enough arms that your hands touch the floor. Go for it. Bowing over the front leg. The front foot is flexed. The toes are pulled back. You're going to waggle the front foot. You're going to waggle your hips. Now the back toes are curled under, and this can be quite bony on the knee. Make sure you have enough padding underneath that right knee. And if you don't have enough padding, you can point the toes backward and disperse some of that weight down the shin. But I like the toes curled under because I get that added foot stretch. Wiggle and waggle. Let the front foot turn out a bit. You're going to resume the lunge. And maybe even take the front foot a little bit wider. It might even travel off the side of your mat. So give yourself a little bit more width between your feet. You got length, give yourself some width. And back it on up into what I call proposal pose. So all your weight's down on one knee. Theoretically, you could pick the front foot up. Front foot is turned out for balance. Give yourself some width for balance. Arms come up and overhead. And then you're going to twist towards the front leg. Whoa! It's a bit of a balance challenge. Twisting towards the front leg. Let the front knee bend. Get a little bit lower, your balance will improve. The more you lunge, the easier it is to hold this. Big twist. Breathe. And then come on up. Rock back on the front heel and twist towards the front leg, reaching diagonal across. That's right. You might need that block underneath your hand. You're going to reach diagonal down the outside of the leg, down towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Again, back toes can be curled under or pointed, whatever your knee is permitting. Big stretch. And unwind. You're going to pivot around and do that same series on the other side. Switching sides, however that might work for you. I'm just going to pivot around. Hopefully you're not facing the back edge of your mat. You might be better off going sideways just so you can see what's going on. Anyway, you got the right foot forward, the left leg back. You're going to set that left knee down. And remember, setting that knee down, you want to tuck the knee in narrow. Feel the outer kneecap touch down first. Your back toes are curled under. You feel the heel swing out wide. Front foot can wiggle wide out to the side, even turn out a little bit as you drive your hips forward. Basic lunge. Using those blocks. The blocks are there for you to help keep your shoulders level. From that basic lunge, you're going to rock back on the heel and just turn this into another hamstring stretch. And breathe. Let that front foot turn out, even wiggle the front foot wider off to the side. As you shift forward back into that lunge, you're going to climb up and back up into that proposal pose. All your weight down on one knee. Again, back toes can be curled under or pointed, whatever your knee permits, however much padding you have available. Arms come up. Come into that twist. You'll be twisting towards the front knee, twisting towards the bent knee. And the more you drop your hips low down towards the ground, the easier it is to balance. Big twist. Breathe. And reaching forward and reaching back at the same time. Balance challenge, if it works for you, to transition and continue to bow forward out over that straight leg, sliding a hand down towards the pinky toe side of the foot. The other hand can find a block, maybe on your hip if you got wonderful balance. We're just going for that hamstring stretch and hip stretch and lower back stretch. And breathe. And come on up. Once again, twist, spin around, switch sides. Let's do it. Padding underneath that right knee. You want to tuck that right knee in narrow. I'm on the ball of the back foot. I'm swinging that back heel in wide. I'm giving myself as much twist as I can in that back leg before I set the knee down on the floor, on the pillow, on the floor. Rocking back on that front heel, turning the front foot out, even taking the front foot a little bit wider out to the side for balance sake. Turning with one leg, turning in with the other. Going to resume that lunge. Both hands come to the inside arch side of that front foot, letting your hips drive forward. Hands on blocks. Be able to inch that front foot forward a little bit more. Ideally, you're lining up heel, hand, hand across a line at the end of your mat, or maybe heel, elbow, elbow. Maybe your elbows can come down on the blocks or elbows come onto the floor. Nice low lizard lunge. Got those back toes curled under. Back heel is swinging out wide. And if it works for you, find your tummy, pull it up inside your body, find that pelvic floor, pull it up inside your body, and then lift that back leg up. And breathe. And set that knee down. Make sure the heel is turned out, the knee is turned in. You set that knee down. And back on up. Rock back on that front heel. Again, use those blocks for balance sake. Same thing. You're going to twist towards that front leg all the way around, reaching diagonal across. Think about pulling that pelvic floor in, pulling in your ab a little bit more, even lifting away from the ground. You're trying to twist as far around as you can go. All the way across that leg. Hands can be on blocks, hands can be on floor. No longer reaching toward the foot, going beyond. Big spiral. You might play around with rocking your hips a little side to side. And then we're going to spiral all the way around to the other. Switching sides. Same setup. Take that back knee, tuck it in narrow, let the back heel swing out wide. Front foot can turn out to the side a little bit. Hands are coming to the inside arch side of that foot. Take a moment here on proposal pose. Make sure your belly, everything's going to be coming on the inside of that leg as you lunge forward in that lizard lunge. Front foot inches forward, inches off the side of your mat. Hand, hand, heel, or heel, hand, hand, or maybe elbows come down in line with your heel in that lizard lunge. If you're feeling strong, you're going to pull up your front ribs, pull up your belly, pull up that pelvic floor, and lift that back leg up. And setting that back knee down. Crawl on up, pull the front leg straight, rock back on that front heel. I'm still reaching out. I'm going to crawl around. Hand coming down the pinky toe side of the foot. Maybe continuing to crawl around the mat. Breathe. All right, unwind. You're going to find yourself in a wide-legged forward fold. Wide-legged forward fold. And you can ditch the pillow. And hold on to those blocks. Toes are in, heels are out. Wide-legged forward fold. Hands on the floor, hands on blocks. Maybe elbows come to the blocks, maybe elbows come to the floor. Nice deep forward fold. Toes in, heels out. Knees are unlocked. Toes are turned in, pinky toes are lifted. Heels are spreading wide. Press your heels wide. Now they're on a sticky mat, so they don't go anywhere, but engage like you're trying to rip that mat between your heels. Press those heels wide. And as you do so, feel those sit bones lift. Head bones drop. Shoulder bones move away from your ear bones. You have a nice long neck. Knees stay unlocked, toes are in, heels are out, pinky toes are lifted, heels are spreading. If you found some good balance here and you want another chest expansion, you can take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, clasp your hands together, press your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Continue to pull shoulders away from ears so the sides and the back of your neck are long. If your head is on the floor, your feet are too far apart. This is not a pile driver. This is not a headstand. You do have your hands clasped. You can turn to look over that under that right shoulder and turn your torso so your knuckles fall to the left. Put a little twist in your torso, looking underneath the right shoulder, twisting so that knuckles fall to the left. And then turn and look underneath the other shoulder and twist your torso the other way. Got to unlock those elbows. They want to hyperextend. Try to keep them unlocked. And turn and twist. And again, you get to turn and twist. Coming to center. Hands to hips, hands slide down legs. Hands come all the way to the floor. And it's the moment we've been all waiting for. It's downward facing dog time. So do make sure both hands and both feet are on the same sticky mat as you step back into your downward facing dog. Take your feet as wide apart as the mat and then go for a jog. Pedal your feet. Let your hips swish and sway side to side. Pull your hips out of your armpits. Get your side body nice and long. You're pivoting on the balls of your feet, swinging both heels one way, both heels the other, bending one knee, bending the other, pedaling your feet, swishing and swaying. Feet walk up towards your hands, hands walk back towards your feet. Find yourself in a forward fold and find your belt. Holding onto that belt, you're going to transfer hands up onto your lap and come all the way on up to standing. Now, if you do have blocks, you're going to want a block as well. You're going to first take that belt and figure out how to buckle it. If you're just using something like a bathrobe tie, you're going to be tying it in a knot. So figure out how to buckle your belt if you've got one that buckles. And what you'll be doing is putting a loop around your thighs and a belt between your thighs. So the block is going to go between your thighs on that narrow width. And then the belt is going to go above the knees. Strap in. So if you do have a buckle on that belt, you don't want it digging into your skin. I do recommend putting it between your legs. So you're going to use that belt to put your legs together. And that block is there to keep your legs from coming in any closer together than block width. So cinch it in nice and tight. I'm just going to move the tail out of the way so you can see. Knees are still able to bend. Knees are going to come no closer together than that block width. You got that belt holding your legs together, which means you get to try pushing your thighs apart. And they're not going to go anywhere because your belt is tied. Feet are about hip width apart. Toes are pointed forward. So ideally your hip bones, your knee bones Your heel bones and your toe ring toe bones are all the same width apart. Hip bones, knee bones, heel bones, toe ring toes, all lined up, stacked, more or less. That's what it looks like from the front. From the side, and stick it out. Your butt. Weight is back in your heels. You're able to wiggle your toes. You're going to sit back and counterbalance by throwing your arms out in front. And then try breaking the belt. Knees go apart. And they go nowhere because you're holding on. They're tied together with a belt. The right knee turns to the right, left knee turns to the left. Try breaking that belt with your super strong thighs. And then sit down a little bit lower. And breathe. Counterbalance. Hands reach forward, hips reach back. Be able to wiggle your toes. Break the belt. And sit a little bit lower. And break the belt. And sit a little bit lower. And then come all the way up. So that's what all that back and hip stretching was for, so that you can sit back and deep in this awkward thunderbolt chair pose. Shoulders shrug up, back and down. Arms come forward. Hips go back. Sit down. Spread those thighs. Lift up your toes. Sit back as low as you can go. Breathe. And come on up. All right. Arms come up alongside your ears. As you exhale, have a seat. Hips are still back, toes are still spread, still breaking that belt. How low can you go? You're gazing forward, or maybe a little bit down. Definitely not gazing up. Knees are wide. And come on up. Again, arms alongside your ears. Have a seat. Fingers spread wide. Gazing forward or gazing diagonal down. Definitely not looking up. Hips back, knees wide, toes spread. Working those legs. And one more time. Coming on up. Take a moment. We're going to do 2 more. And we'll be twisting. Twisting right, then twisting left. All right. Inhale. As you exhale, have a seat. Sitting back. Wiggle your toes, spread your knees, press your thighs wide, hips back. Bring your hands together. Twisting just the torso. Just the torso. Keep pushing those knees wide. Pushing those knees wide will help keep those hips from twisting. You want to twist just the torso over one knee. Namaste in your hands. Pushing top hand into bottom hand. Keep pushing those knees wide. Weight in the heels, able to wiggle your toes, sitting back. And come on up. And you get to exhale and sit down and twist the other way. Knees are pushing wide. Twisting just the torso. Top hand presses into bottom hand. Breathing. And come on up. How about we get rid of the belt and get rid of the block and start putting some of this stuff together. Nothing underneath your hands, nothing between your legs. Freestyle chair pose, same idea. You want to keep your hips, knee bones, ankle bones, toe ring toes, all lined up, all the same width apart. Try not to let your thighs slam together. Try not to let your knees go wide, but do want to activate those legs like you're trying to spread your thigh bones. Think about spreading those upper thigh bones, spreading those upper thigh bones, sitting back into those heels, spreading your toes, sitting back into that really awkward chair pose. Good. Now twist over that right shoulder, twisting to the right, looking over that right shoulder. Let your left hand drop. Start shifting weight onto that left foot. Opening up the right arm, opening up the right leg. Right, lift it up. Pushing those knees apart. We're coming into that half moon. And reset. Come all the way on up. Now I happen to put my hand down on the ground. You've got a block there, you can put blocks underneath your hands. I'm going to try it on the other side. We've done quite a bit stretching, so you might be able to just reach the floor like I did. Go ahead and have a seat in that awkward chair pose. Push those thighs wide, push those upper thighs wide, toes are spread, knees are bent. Now twist to the left. Right hand comes down, weight shifts onto the right hand. Left arm, left leg, lift up. Twisting. Now the supporting knee is still pushing wide to the side. Upper thigh still pushing wide to the side. Half moon pose. And release. Some of you might be pleasantly surprised that you can just touch the floor. Normally, you don't. We're going to do that once more on each side. Inhale up. Exhale, have a seat. You're pushing those thigh bones out, even when you open into that twist. So twisting to one side, and then opening up into that half moon pose. The supporting leg is still pushing wide. Get to come on down. And have a seat. Give it a twist. Open, open, open. And reset. Come on up. Got two more. We're going to do revolved half moon. So you might want to watch this first time. And again, if reaching the floor has been a bit of a challenge, you're definitely going to want to block. Up. You'll have a seat. You'll twist to the right, but then you'll lift the other leg up. So you're twisting to the right. You're going to shift all your weight onto that right leg. Left hand down. Left leg up. Revolved half moon. And come on out. That's a tricky one. And exhale, have a seat in that chair. Thighs are wide, knees unlocked. Twisting to the left. Left hand, left leg. Left leg is up, left hand is down. Guess that would be your right, whatever. I'm all confused. Big twist. And come on up. Once more on each side. Chair pose into a twisted chair. Shifting your weight onto the leg that you're twisting towards. Lifting up the other leg. And reset. One more time. Have a seat. Get down. Work those thighs. Work those legs. Work the big twist. Revolved half moon. And you get to come on down into a forward fold. Have your blocks ready to go. Coffee table chair, something underneath your hands, supporting that upper body in a forward fold. That was a big twist. It was a very challenging pose. We're going to continue making nice by copping a squat. So hips go back. Weight is in your heels. Coming into a squat. Now, if squat doesn't work for you, you can take your two blocks in butt cheek configuration, sit upon them, take some of the load off. Maybe that helps. If that still doesn't work for you, you can do your butterfly pose, bound angle pose. So sitting on blocks for your bound angle pose, hanging out in your squat, taking some of the weight off if necessary, any modification you need for your squat pose, and breathe. Shoulders away from your ears, nice long neck. Breathing. And then we'll all come down and sit on those blocks for that butterfly, cobbler's, tailor's pose, Baddha Konasana. Shoulders back, chest lifted. Nice long neck. So grabbing hold of your ankles to take peace fingers around your big toes, maybe even interlace your fingers around the pinky toes. Grab a hold of something, shoulders down so that your shoulders pull down away from your ears, and you can tick-tock your head side to side and feel that neck stretch. And come to center. Help your legs up. Gonna crisscross applesauce. Put one leg in front, doesn't matter which. Shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. And then as you exhale, twist to one side. Front ribs and belly pull in. Put a slight bend in your elbows and turn yourself around. And inhale to center. And exhale, twist the other way. Again, front ribs and belly tuck in, elbows bend. Both elbows are unlocked as you turn. And reset. Recross, put the other leg in front. And we'll do the same thing. Inhale, arms come on up. And exhale, twist. Pick a side, any side. Elbows bent, front ribs tuck in as you twist. If it works for you, you can tip your head back, lift your chin up, put your bottom lip over your top lip, and add in a little throat stretch. Chin rolls back to the center of your chest, arms lift on up. And exhale, twist the other way. Front ribs tuck in, elbows stay bent, twisting, twisting, twisting. And then you can let your head roll back, bottom lip over top lip, pout. Head rolls around to the front and you unwind. We got some nice neck stretching in today, a lot of hip thrusting. So let's put it together with a bridge pose. So have your blocks ready to go. Have your belt ready to go. Unbuckle your belt. You just need a flat strap. And this is where I recommend having a regular belt, not the stretchy one. A regular flat belt. And that regular flat belt is going to go underneath your waist, underneath your butt, actually. You're going to lie down on the floor. So you might want to watch this because once you get down on the floor, it's kind of hard to see. Belt goes underneath your butt, nice and flat on the ground. You have your blocks ready to go. Nothing underneath your head. Knees are bent, feet are flat. You're going to be turning your palms out, palms up, thumbs out to the side like you're hitchhiking, and really get those shoulders in narrow. Be sliding your palms. Palms are facing up underneath the belt, thumbs pointing out to the sides. When you come up into that bridge pose, you're going to be working your hands closer together. Pinky fingers come in narrow, close to one another, holding onto the belt, thumbs pushing out to the sides. So knees bent and feet flat, pelvic thrust, pull that tummy in, tuck your tail, tuck your chin, lift your hips up, and then elbow walk. Get your shoulders narrow, work your hands closer together on that belt. Try getting your pinky fingers side by side, your thumbs out to the sides, palms are up. Get a good grip on that belt and try ripping the belt apart. Now remember having that block between your thighs. Keep your feet narrow, keep your knees narrow. As if you're still holding a block between your thighs. It's just, you still have that belt tied around your thighs. You're still doing the same thing you did for your chair pose, but now you're letting your hips thrust up towards the sky. And you're pulling on that strap between your hands to get your shoulders even more narrow, closer together. Notice I'm talking, so you should be breathing in this bridge pose. Feet stay flat. And then you release your grip, let your shoulders move out of the way, and slowly come on down. And take a moment to troubleshoot. If that gave you a headache, you were probably holding your breath, clenching your jaw, grinding your teeth, doing something. And then as soon as you relaxed, you got a head rush and you got a headache. So make sure there's no tension in the upper body. Again, I'm talking the whole time. That's a good way to check if you have any tension in the neck and shoulders and jaw. If you're able to talk, that's a good thing. So that's a headache thing if you've got tension in the neck and jaw. If you've got issues with your back, your hips, you want to move your heels away from your butt. And make sure your tummy is strong. So once again, shoulders away from your ears, palms up, belt across the flats of your hands, knees bent, feet flat, pelvic thrust, lift your hips up, keep your thighs narrow as you come into that bridge pose and work your hands closer together. Get a good grip on that belt and try ripping the belt apart. And breathe. Thighs are narrow as if you were still doing that chair pose, holding on that brick between your legs. Working the legs. Breathing. Nice big bridge pose. And come on down. This one's always best the third or fourth time you do it. The first two are just kind of stiff for some reason. When you hit that third and fourth one, you're getting real good at it. Going beyond number 3 and 4, you start to lose form. But here comes the next two. The next two are going to be your best ones. Feet stay flat down on the ground. Heels away from your butt. If you bring your heels in too close, you might be hurting your knees. So heels away from your butt, but feet are hip width apart. Activate those abs, do that pelvic peel, lift your hips up, work your shoulders, elbows, hands close together. Get a good grip on that belt and rip the belt apart. Breathing. Really pushing your feet down hard into the ground. Legs are narrow the entire time. And come on down. Remember that alignment for the chair pose. Hip bones, knee bones, ankle bones, toe ring toes, all in the same line. Same width apart. All right, number 4. Going to be the best one of the bunch. And then you get to come on down. Knees are bent, feet are flat, feet about as wide apart as the mat. Let those knees tick-tock side to side like windshield wipers. You're going to find those blocks. You're holding on to the long edges of the blocks. One block for each hand. When you put those blocks together, you'll have one block for each butt cheek in that butt cheek configuration. Let those knees tick-tock side to side a few more times. Then you're going to tuck those blocks underneath your butt. They can go underneath one cheek and then underneath the other. Blocks go underneath your booty butt. And you want them below the belt, under your butt. One knee at a time, both knees come into your chest. Hips are supported on the blocks. Your belt, your waistband, your hips are hanging off the block down towards the ground. So your waistband, your lower back hanging over the edge of the block. Only your lower butt is on the block. And the knees come into the chest. You can feel the edge of the block digging into that hip butt meat. We can use some of that acupressure, shiatsu type massage. One foot, both feet come down. Toes turn in, knees lean together. You're going to lift your hips up just enough to remove the blocks. And then when you set your hips down, you're going to feel that lower back spread on the ground. And you can use your hands to spread your butt out even more. Feel that lower back really spread out on the ground. And then as you extend the legs, let your inner thighs reach down towards the ground. So toes are turned in, heels are turned out. Let your inner thighs reach down towards the ground. Once those inner thighs reach down towards the floor and you extend your legs completely, then you can let your feet go floppy. At this point, if you need a pillow underneath your head, go ahead, put that in place. And your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to come into standard, regular old Shavasana. And you might be pleasantly surprised. We did a lot to stretch out that lower back, hips, and stuff. So maybe you've got a lot more of your lower back, hips, and stuff touching the floor than usual. But if full out, flat out, standard old Shavasana is not your thing, you can do any other variation you desire. Now settle in and take some nice deep breaths.